Okay, we're going to take a look at investigating some of the setup characteristics and some of the map tools that we have to work with. First off, into your browser here, you want to get this open to the database, and we're going to be working with Chemung County. So yours will probably look like this when you open it up. So first of all, what we're going to do is bring some data in, and I'm going to look for some regional DEM data. And there's a group of them, and you can see basically by the icons, these are raster characteristics. So what we're going to bring in is W23, the GZ file. Right click and add the layer. 24, add the layer. 25, add the layer. Those are all W. Then X23, add that layer, and X24, add that layer. So one of the things we can accomplish at this point is to look at the whole thing here, and this selection here will allow us to zoom full, which will give us the full extent. These are digital elevation images, and you can see that we can actually see the individual ones, and this one looks different than the one next to it. So that's really not what we would like in a map. We'd like them to be very continuous. So we're going to investigate and try to find one that we like the most, and sort of make some adjustments to it. So first of all, I don't remember which one this is, so I'm just going to go around and sort of click some things on and off and find out which one it is. And so it's number 24 here. So to look at number 24, I'm going to right click on it and look at its properties. So the layer properties here, we can investigate a number of the components that are here. Right now it's single sideband gray. It says render type, so band rendering. Rendering essentially means redraw. And it's going black to white. Its minimum value is 266, and max is 471. Now these are, if you notice, it's set stretch min to max. So that's why these look different, is because the essentially the minimum value, which would be kind of the river bottom area here, is different for one versus the other. In fact, the Chemung River kind of cuts around this way and sneaks around this side. So we can play with these and maybe set them to some particular value. I'm going to set this to 250 and this to 500. And now I'm not quite going to the maximum, so it's black to white, but I'm not going to get a full white. You can see this is a saturated white here. That should go away. So I'm going to apply that. And you can see that looks a little better, and in fact, actually, by going a little bit below 250, we can get a little bit more detail in here. So that's kind of a handy thing. And you can change these to white to black. If you wanted to, it would look inverted. I don't really like the way that looks, so I'm going to go back to this one. Okay, and there are quite a number of games that you can play with this in terms of coloring and so on. We could change the coloring to pseudo coloring and do an investigation of colors. So, you know, from one height to another. We're going to call this continuous versus equal interval. So as long as it's still continuous here, we should be able to take a look at that. And you can see we could get a scenario that Kind of looks like this. Again, that's not what we're after. I'm going to go back to gray. And sometimes when you go back and forth, things get reset here. So we need to go back to the 250 to 500 that we were at before. And this got reset. Okay, so there's the properties, and we could determine that we really like the way that looks. So what we can do is to copy the characteristics of this image to the other ones. So I can right click over here and copy the style. So this style meaning all of the factors that we put in. So I'm going to copy that to this one, right click and paste the style. So you can see this one now has the same characteristic. Now we might look at this and say this is way too bright. Obviously the hills were a little bit taller here. So we may want to come back in and look at the properties of this one and maybe go to 550 or something and see what that looks like. So that looks much better. So now we'll copy this style and go back the other way. And correspondingly, we can go through the rest of these and get our scenarios all the same. So in this case here, we have a little bit of saturation up here. So there's some high peaks here that are still coming in, but we have a really nice representation of the valley. And we get some detail down in here into the river bottom area to get a flavor. Actually, we can just start to see the actual river right there. The area that we're want to kind of look at in general is this area here. That is sort of this island of a hill that sticks out. It turns out that the wind blows very nicely from the west here along this ridge, and there's a great ridge lift. So this is a soaring spot right there. The next thing we'd like to add to this are the roads. So I'm going to shrink these down. And this is Chemung County. So I'm going to open up the Chemung County tab here, and here's the roads. Here I'm going to right click there and add the roads. So so there we go. We've got some roads. Now I don't really want my roads to be purple, so I'm going to right click up here and look at the properties and look at the style, and currently the style is purple roads, and then we could just click on this thing and say that perhaps we would want we'll go with blue roads and see how they look. Yeah, that looks okay. In here, unit to work with is right there. You notice it's millimeter or map unit. So this brings up a point that we should watch, is kind of how we would look at this from the standpoint of starting to become somewhat pleasant. And this area here is the area of interest. So we're going to zoom in on this area and kind of get it in a centralized location that I'm going to want to come back to. So I'm going to add a bookmark. So these are new bookmarks, and we'll call this one Harris Hill. Okay, so now that'll help us in case we get in too far or out too far. We can go and just re-click on that, and it'll bring us right back to where we want to be.